How many brilliant ideas have died in your throat because you were afraid they weren't good enough? How many truths have you swallowed because they might upset someone? How many times have you made yourself smaller to make others more comfortable? Sound familiar? You're not alone in this prison of other people's opinions. Millions of us live there. We've built our entire sense of self on the shifting sands of what others might think, might say, might judge. But here's what you need to understand right now. This anxiety isn't serving you, it's destroying you from the inside out. I've spent decades watching beautiful souls shrink themselves to fit into boxes that were never meant for them. I've seen brilliant minds silence themselves because they fear judgment. I've witnessed hearts close down because approval became more important than authenticity. And I'm here to tell you something that might shake you to your core. The opinions you're so desperately chasing, they don't even exist the way you think they do. Let me explain. You're walking into a room full of people. Your heart starts pounding, your palms get sweaty. You're convinced everyone is watching you, judging you, finding you lacking. But here's the truth that will set you free. Every single person in that room is thinking about themselves. They're worried about their own hair, their own clothes, their own performance. They are not thinking about you nearly as much as you think they are. This is the first crack in the prison wall. Are you listening? Your anxiety about others' opinions is largely a conversation you're having with yourself. You're creating stories in your head about what people think, and then you're reacting to those stories as if they were facts. But they're not facts. They're fiction. When you really understand this, something profound happens. The weight starts to lift. The chains begin to loosen. Now, let me tell you why you got trapped in this pattern in the first place. It didn't happen overnight. It started when you were very young. Maybe your parents only showed love when you performed well. Maybe you learned that approval equals safety. Maybe criticism felt like abandonment. Is your child mind made a logical conclusion? To survive, I must please others. To be loved, I must be perfect. To belong, I must never disappoint. These beliefs got wired into your nervous system. They became your operating manual for life. And now, as an adult, you're still running those same programs. But here's what your child mind couldn't understand then. Love that depends on your performance isn't real love at all. It's conditional acceptance, and you deserve so much more than that. You deserve to be loved for who you are, not what you do. You deserve to take up space in this world without apologizing. You deserve to have opinions, make mistakes, and be beautifully, imperfectly human. But first, you have to stop outsourcing your self-worth to other people. When you live for others' approval, you give them power over your happiness. You turn them into gods who can make or break your day with a look, a word, a silence. That's not fair to them, and it's certainly not fair to you. Here's something else you need to know. The people whose opinions you value most, they're probably not thinking about you the way you think they are. Your boss, who seems so critical, she's dealing with her own pressures and fears. Your friend who didn't respond to your text, he's probably overwhelmed with his own life, not deliberately ignoring you. We project so much meaning onto other people's behavior. We make their busyness about our worthness. But what if their behavior has nothing to do with you at all? What if it's just about them living their own complicated human lives? Other people's reactions to you are more about their internal world than about who you are. Now, I want to address something that might be happening for you right now. As you're listening to this, part of you might be saying, but what if I really did mess up? What if they really are judging me? This is your anxiety talking. It's trying to keep you safe by keeping you small. It's trying to protect you from rejection by having you reject yourself first. But safety and growth cannot coexist. If you want to expand into who you're meant to be, you have to be willing to risk disapproval. Here's a radical thought. What if some people not liking you is actually a good sign? What if it means you're being authentic instead of performing? You cannot please everyone and still be true to yourself. It's impossible. If everyone likes you, you're probably not being real. And that's exhausting, isn't it? Constantly shape-shifting to fit others' expectations. Always scanning for approval signals, never feeling safe to just be yourself. Let me tell you what this pattern does to your soul. It fragments you. You become so many different versions of yourself that you lose track of who you really are. With this person, you're funny and outgoing. With that person, you're serious and responsible. With your family, you're the good child. With your friends, you're the supportive one. But where are you in all of this? Where is your authentic self? Where is the person you are when no one else is watching? If you don't know the answer to that question, it's time to get curious. It's time to come home to yourself. This is the work that will change everything. Not trying to control what others think, but discovering what you think. Not managing your image, but knowing your truth. Not seeking approval, but giving approval to yourself. But I have to warn you, this journey isn't easy. When you start living authentically, some people won't like it. They were comfortable with the version of you that always said yes. They benefited from the version of you that never had needs of your own. Your growth will trigger their discomfort. Your boundaries will activate their resistance. Your authenticity will challenge their masks. And that's okay. In fact, it's necessary. The people who truly love you will celebrate your growth, even when it's inconvenient for them. The people who only liked the version of you that served their needs, those relationships were never healthy to begin with. Here's something profound I want you to understand. When you stop seeking everyone's approval, you start attracting the right kind of people. People who value authenticity over performance. People who want to know the real you, not the polished version. These are the relationships that will nourish your soul. These are the connections that will sustain you through life's challenges. These are the people worth your energy and attention. But first, you have to be willing to disappoint the wrong people to make room for the right ones. Now, let's talk about what this anxiety is really costing you, because it's more than just discomfort. It's stealing your life force. Every moment you spend worrying about others' opinions is a moment you're not living fully. Every decision you make based on fear of judgment is a decision that moves you away from your true path. Every time you silence your voice to avoid conflict, you lose a piece of your soul. This is the real tragedy. Not that people might judge you, but that you might live your entire life in the shadow of that possibility. How many dreams have you abandoned because they weren't practical enough, impressive enough, acceptable enough? How many relationships have you settled for because they were safe rather than soul-stirring? How many words have you swallowed because they might rock the boat? Your anxiety about others' opinions isn't protecting you, it's imprisoning you. But here's the beautiful truth. The key to your cell is in your hand. It always has been. The moment you decide that your inner peace is more important than others' approval, everything changes. The moment you choose self-love over external validation, you break free. But how do you make this shift? How do you rewire decades of conditioning? How do you learn to trust yourself when you've been taught to trust everyone else's opinion more than your own? It starts with small acts of courage, speaking your truth in low-stakes situations, setting a boundary with someone who's used to having none with you, making a choice based on what you want rather than what others expect. Each time you choose authenticity over approval, you strengthen your inner voice. Each time you honor your needs over others' opinions, you build self-trust. Each time you act from love rather than fear, you expand into who you're meant to be. But you also have to be willing to feel uncomfortable. Growth always involves discomfort. You can't expand your comfort zone without leaving your comfort zone. The anxiety you feel when you're being authentic, that's not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's a sign you're doing something new. Your nervous system is calibrated to the old patterns. When you choose differently, it sounds alarm bells. But those alarm bells aren't telling you to go back. They're just notification that change is happening. And change, even positive change, feels threatening to the part of you that equates familiar with safe. This is why so many people return to their old patterns, even when those patterns are painful. The known pain feels safer than the unknown possibility. But you're different. You're listening to this because something in you knows there's another way. Something in you is ready to choose growth over safety, authenticity over approval, truth over comfort. That something is your soul calling you home to yourself. Let me share something with you that might surprise you. The opinions you're most afraid of, they're usually projections of your own inner critic. The harsh judgments you imagine others making are often the same harsh judgments you make about yourself. When you heal your relationship with yourself, you stop projecting your self-criticism onto others. When you learn to speak kindly to yourself, you stop hearing cruelty in everyone else's silence. This is the deepest work, not changing how others see you, but changing how you see yourself. Not controlling their thoughts, but healing your own thoughts. Not seeking their love, but cultivating self-love. And here's what happens when you do this work. You stop needing others' approval because you've learned to approve of yourself. You stop fearing their rejection because you've stopped rejecting yourself. You stop hiding who you are because you've fallen in love with who you are. So this doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice, not a destination. Some days you'll feel strong in yourself. Other days the old patterns will try to reassert themselves. This is normal. This is human. This is part of the journey. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is progress. The goal is choosing love over fear more often than not. The goal is remembering that you are worthy of acceptance exactly as you are. Now, I want to address something that often comes up when we talk about not caring what others think. Some people worry that this means becoming selfish, inconsiderate, or rude. That's not what I'm suggesting at all. There's a difference between not caring about others' opinions and not caring about others' feelings. There's a difference between being authentic and being unkind. There's a difference between setting boundaries and being cruel. You can honor your truth while still being compassionate. You can live authentically while still being considerate. You can please yourself while still being kind to others. The key is motivation. When you act from self-love rather than self-interest, your choices naturally consider others' well-being. When you're coming from wholeness rather than woundedness, you don't need to hurt others to honor yourself. But when you've been people-pleasing for so long, any movement towards self-honoring might feel selfish. That's because your baseline has been self-abandonment. From that perspective, self-care looks like self-indulgence. Trust me when I tell you that taking care of yourself is not selfish. It's necessary. You cannot give what you don't have. You cannot love others well if you don't love yourself well. You cannot be truly present for others if you're not truly present for yourself. The world needs you whole, not perfect. The world needs your authentic voice, not your polished performance. The world needs your unique gifts, not your deluded attempt to be what everyone else wants. But first, you need to believe this about yourself. You need to believe that you matter. You need to believe that your thoughts and feelings are valid. You need to believe that you deserve to take up space in this world. If you don't believe these things yet, that's okay. Belief often follows action, not the other way around. Start acting as if you matter, and eventually you'll start believing it. Start treating yourself as if you're worthy, and eventually you'll know it in your bones. Here's a practice that can help. Every morning when you wake up, before you check your phone, before you think about your day, place your hand on your heart and say these words. I approve of myself exactly as I am right now. You might not believe it at first. You might feel resistance. You might hear your inner critic arguing. That's all normal. Keep saying it anyway. Your subconscious mind is listening. Your nervous system is learning. Your heart is healing. Over time, these words will start to feel true. Over time, you'll start to live from this place of self-approval. Over time, others' opinions will lose their power over you. Because when you truly approve of yourself, you don't need anyone else's permission to exist. When you truly love yourself, you don't need anyone else's love to feel complete. When you truly know your worth, you don't need anyone else's validation to feel valuable. This is freedom. This is peace. This is coming home to yourself. But let me be clear about something. This work isn't about becoming indifferent to feedback or refusing to grow. Healthy people can receive input from others without their self-worth depending on it. They can hear criticism without being crushed by it. They can accept praise without being addicted to it. The goal is to become internally referenced instead of externally referenced, to use your own inner compass as your primary navigation system, to trust your own judgment while still being open to others' perspectives. This is maturity. This is wisdom. This is what it means to be a fully realized human being. And you're capable of this. You were born with everything you need to live authentically. It's just been buried under layers of conditioning, fear, and misguided attempts to belong. But it's not too late. It's never too late to come back to yourself. It's never too late to choose authenticity over approval. It's never too late to remember that you are enough exactly as you are. Your anxiety about others' opinions has served a purpose. It's tried to keep you safe, to help you belong, to protect you from pain. But now it's time to graduate from this protection. Now it's time to choose growth over safety, truth over comfort, authenticity over approval. The people who matter don't mind. The people who mind don't matter. This isn't just a cute saying, it's a profound truth about how relationships actually work. You will never find your tribe by pretending to be someone you're not. You will never find deep connection by living on the surface. You will never find love by abandoning yourself. The path to genuine belonging runs straight through authentic being. The path to real love runs straight through self-love. The path to lasting peace runs straight through making peace with who you are. So I invite you to make a choice right here, right now. Choose to matter to yourself more than you matter to others. Choose to trust your inner voice more than external noise. Choose to love yourself more than you fear others' opinions. This choice will change everything. This choice will set you free. This choice will lead you home to the person you've always been, underneath all the masks and performances. You are not here to live someone else's life. You are not here to fulfill someone else's expectations. You are not here to be perfect, popular, or pleasing. You are here to be you. Beautifully, authentically, courageously, you. The world is waiting for your unique contribution. Your soul is waiting for your authentic expression. Your future self is waiting for you to choose love over fear. What are you waiting for? Let me tell you about Jenna. She's 35 years old and still asks her mother's permission before making major decisions. Not because she values her mother's wisdom, but because she's terrified of disapproval. She stayed in a job she hated for 3 years because leaving might seem irresponsible. She married someone she felt lukewarm about because he was what everyone expected. Now she sits in my office, tears streaming down her face, asking, how did I end up living someone else's life? This is what happens when you make others' opinions more important than your own inner knowing. You wake up one day and realize you're a stranger to yourself. You've become so good at being what others want that you've forgotten what you want. Here's what I told Jenna and what I'm telling you now. It's not too late. It's never too late to reclaim your life from the committee of voices in your head. Those voices aren't even real most of the time. They're ghosts from your past, echoes of old wounds, projections of your own fears. You're living in reaction to opinions that may not even exist. Think about this. How often have you worried about someone's reaction, only to discover they never noticed what you were worried about? How many sleepless nights have you spent replaying conversations that the other person forgot within minutes? You're giving away your precious life force to shadows and illusions. You're sacrificing your present moment happiness for future approval that may never come. You're trading your authentic self for a costume that never quite fits. And the most heartbreaking part? The people you're trying so hard to please often don't even know you're doing it. They're too busy managing their own anxiety about what others think to pay attention to your performance. This is the cosmic joke of approval seeking. We're all so busy trying to impress each other that nobody's paying attention to anyone else's attempts at impression. We're all actors in a play where everyone forgot there was an audience. But you can step off this stage right now. You can refuse to perform. You can choose to be real instead of right, authentic instead of acceptable, true instead of pleasing. I know it feels scary. When you've built your identity on others' approval, losing that approval feels like losing yourself. But here's what you'll discover on the other side of that fear. You don't lose yourself when others disapprove. You find yourself. You find out who you are when you're not trying to be who they want. You discover your own voice when you stop echoing theirs. You uncover your own desires when you stop focusing on their expectations. This is the gift hidden in the fear of disapproval. It forces you to develop an internal compass. It teaches you to trust your own judgment. It shows you that your worth doesn't depend on external validation. But you have to be willing to feel uncomfortable while you're learning this lesson. You have to be willing to disappoint some people in order to stop disappointing yourself. You have to be willing to risk their rejection in order to stop rejecting yourself. And here's something beautiful that happens when you make this choice. The right people are drawn to your authenticity like moths to a flame. When you stop trying to be everything to everyone, you become something precious to someone. The relationships you build from this place of authenticity are so much deeper, so much more nourishing, so much more real than the relationships built on performance and people-pleasing. Because when someone loves the real you, you can actually receive that love. When someone approves of your authentic self, that approval actually feeds your soul. When you connect from truth instead of strategy, you experience the belonging you've been seeking all along. This is what's waiting for you on the other side of your fear. Not just freedom from others' opinions, but connection to your own truth. Not just relief from anxiety, but access to your own wisdom. Not just independence from approval, but intimacy with yourself. Your soul has been waiting patiently for you to remember who you are. Your authentic self has been knocking gently at the door of your awareness. Your true voice has been whispering underneath all the noise. But perhaps you're thinking, this sounds beautiful, but how do I actually do this? How do I stop caring what others think when it feels so automatic, so ingrained? Let me give you something practical, something you can start today. Tonight, before you go to sleep, ask yourself this question. What would I do tomorrow if I knew for certain that no one would judge me for it? Write down whatever comes up. Don't edit it. Don't make it reasonable or acceptable. Just write your truth. Maybe you'd speak up in that meeting. Maybe you'd wear that outfit you love but think is too much. Maybe you'd call that friend you've been missing but were afraid might not want to hear from you. Maybe you'd start that creative project you've been putting off because it's not practical. This is your authentic self speaking. This is who you are underneath all the conditioning and fear. This is the person you came here to be. Now, here's the revolutionary part. Choose one small thing from that list, just one, and do it tomorrow. Not perfectly, not with complete confidence, but courageously. Do it scared if you have to, but do it anyway. Feel what happens in your body when you honor your truth instead of managing others' opinions. Notice how your energy shifts when you choose authenticity over approval. Pay attention to how alive you feel when you stop performing and start being. This is how transformation happens, not through grand gestures or dramatic declarations, but through small, consistent choices to honor yourself, through daily acts of courage that slowly rewire your nervous system from fear to freedom. And yes, some people might not understand. Some people might pull away. Some people might even criticize your newfound authenticity. Let them. Their discomfort with your growth says nothing about you and everything about their own relationship with authenticity. The people who truly belong in your life will celebrate your courage to be real. They'll be inspired by your willingness to stop pretending. They'll thank you for giving them permission to do the same. Because when you stop performing, you give others permission to stop performing too. When you choose authenticity, you create safety for others to be authentic. When you love yourself enough to be real, you model what self-love actually looks like. This is how you change the world. Not by trying to please everyone, but by having the courage to be yourself. Not by seeking approval, but by approving of yourself so completely that others' opinions become interesting but irrelevant. It's time to listen. It's time to come home. It's time to stop living for applause and start living for truth. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs the original you. The you that existed before fear taught you to hide. The you that knows things others don't know. The you that sees beauty others overlook. The you that has gifts only you can give. Stop waiting for permission to be yourself. Stop waiting for the right moment to speak your truth. Stop waiting for others to approve of your dreams before you pursue them. Your soul has been patient long enough. Your authentic voice has been silent long enough. Your true self has been waiting long enough.